Paramedics at their best level are essentially doing the work of a resus room full of a dozen doctors and nurses, but they're doing it in the form of two persons in someone's bathroom on the tile floor with canvas bags. Some of the best folks I've ever had the pleasure of working with, it is an unsurprising amount of them that are former members of EMS. If you want to do something in medicine, you can hardly find a better way to become an expert at patient assessment, rapid intervention and treatment, rapid diagnostic evaluations than EMS. You don't wake up and realize the person you are. You literally sculpt who you want to be out of your choices, out of your actions.
Give my life to the service of humanity.
If the decision was, what do you want to do with the short amount of time you have? And your answer is help people. EMS, it was an easy yes at that point. That internal motivator of wanting to do better for these people who are hurt, who are suffering, who need you. I really enjoy the privilege, and it's really a privilege, to be a part of someone's life when they start doing amazing things for the world and for themselves. Hi, my name is Mark. I'm a certified paramedic in the city and state of New York. I was initially certified as an EMT in 2008. I became a paramedic in 2011, the year after I believe I met Megan Williams and started working with her. I'm also currently a CIC. And so currently I find myself as the manager for training for the Medisys Health Network's pre-hospital care division. So overseeing Jamaica, Flushing, JFK service, and transport EMS. There's something I've been trying to get carved into a wooden plaque that I want to hang at the top of my classroom or above my door whenever anyone comes to see me or takes a lesson from me. And it's just 4 big block letters, RTFM, read the manual. Read the whole text, read it completely, read it with a critical eye, read it with a highlighter, with a pen, taking notes, for the love of all goodness, just carefully and closely read the material provided to you before the lecture time. There's critical learning skills that are hard to develop if you haven't gone through a lot of layers of like college level education. And the hard part about EMT classes is that they're essentially college level courses delivered in a short amount of time, at a great pace. And quite simply, there's not enough hours in every class to cover every single piece of the medicine we as teachers want to cover. So if you want to help yourself, come to class prepped with all the information. Read the book ahead of time. I really enjoy the privilege, and it's really a privilege, to be a part of someone's life when they start doing amazing things for the world and for themselves. And teaching is a great way to do that. Teaching emergency medicine is an even better way, I think, to do that, because it's literally people who are dedicating part of themselves to doing the best you can with your life, like service to others and service to the people around you for nothing other than the asking, right? I admire the students so much. Like, I admire the people who come to learn this stuff so much. And so really it is a privilege to get to be in their life even for a little while, be a part of that sort of discovery of what you can do for the world. It really helps to get by seeing other people succeed for themselves and do well. That's really rewarding as an outsider, as a teacher. Naive altruism. No, I came out of a 4-year university degree with a degree that wasn't necessarily going to go any one particular direction. I didn't have a particular calling at the time. So I was sort of looking for public service avenues. I was looking for a way to give back. I felt like I had had it pretty good. You know, I'd had a comfortable life up until then, 3 square meals, a warm bed to sleep in every day. So that's pretty privileged. That's pretty nice. And so you feel like you got to give back in some way. You got to give to those who don't have those things in some way. After running through a couple of possibilities, EMS seemed a natural one. I had some family connections to medicine, family members, doctors, teachers, other paramedics in my family, and so EMS seemed a natural follow on. You gotta get away. Whatever the source of it is, in whatever way you can, you endure and you get through the moment. But then as soon as you have the time and the ability, get out. Get away from the city, get away from the place, get away from whatever the thing is, and just remove yourself from being in that stress generating place. Because the burnout is real and it's coming for everyone. The bitterness is real. The lesson that I was taught early, and that has been true every day since, is fighting the bitterness is full-time part of the job. Like fighting the bitterness from the same jobs, from the same patients, from the same street corners, for the same bogus chief complaints that you see every day. You got to get away from it. Conversely as well, the other side of the coin of burnout and bitterness, the overworking to the point of real stress, is you got to see some positive reward for what you do. So follow up on your patients. That was a big help to me. Like follow up on your patients. If you wind up going back to the same ED, if you're friends with the nurse, friends with the doc, friends with like whoever can show you, follow up with the patient you brought them. Like, because seeing the outcome really does help a lot of feeling like you actually accomplished something and feeling like you were able to do something for someone. Because the burnout really develops in full when you feel like you're not having an impact or if you feel like you're not positively contributing. And so even if it's just in a little way, getting to know that you helped someone and seeing concrete proof that you achieved something, that helps fight a lot of bitterness and a lot of burnout. But you got to actively try to do it. If you want to do something in medicine, you can hardly find a better way to become an expert at patient assessment, rapid intervention and treatment, rapid diagnostic evaluations than EMS. So all the nurses, the docs, some of the best folks I've ever had the pleasure of working with, it is an unsurprising amount of them that are former members of EMS. There's a great deal of members of higher level medicine, of truly capable people who we work with and run into and encounter on a day to day, who are former members of the service. And it's a serious leg up in any amount of medicine you want to go into. And even if you want to parlay it into other venues and avenues, like there's definitely people who started in EMS and then transitioned to a million other things. What it shows is that you can work in difficult, high stress situations. You can handle a lot of variables at once. Multitasking skills are essential in almost every job. And then further, it shows that you can acquire a great deal of information and then be prepared to utilize that information under complex circumstances. So it's an incredible set of just mental trainings that go into play. Like once you're good at EMS, once you're capable of doing this job, you're capable of doing a whole lot of other things because you can handle this, that you realize you can handle a whole lot of anything else. Follow up with your local REMAC. They almost always will have a calendar of some sorts of events. They will have a list of events. The state has a calendar of events and has convention events like the Vital Signs Conference, where you have people from EMS coming together, providing new ideas, putting out talks and speeches and CME hours. that are really the most up-to-date stuff. We have some really good examples of that, I think, from Vital Signs Conference, like seeing the folks come out to demo new ideas or new advancements in EMS. And then further, we just conducted this past weekend. We had a whole mental health symposium where we had 3 separate speakers all talk about mental health in EMS and better ways of accessing it and caring for it and concerns about it. So the best way to stay up to date is to stay hungry for finding what keeps you up to date, like actively searching. It's not, you can't passively expect these things to find you. You got to go find them, but they are there. You just got to go get them. Marrying my wife, smartest thing I ever did. Smartest move I ever made. Absolutely nailed that decision. Couldn't have been more right. Wisest move I've ever made in my life. No regrets, not once. That woman was an absolute treasure, and I was as lucky as could be to meet her in the first place, coming literally from opposite sides of the country. Shouldn't have met in high school in Connecticut. She's from New York, I'm from California. What the heck are we doing here? Smartest, most fun, most beautiful, most interesting person ever in my life, the best friend that a human can have. And I have, once again, the pleasure and privilege of getting to spend my life with her. Best move I ever made. The ones that take notes make me smile the most. I appreciate people who want to do more for themselves. I really do, like people who want to advance themselves. I try to sort of earnestly reflect that appreciation back to people. I try to give voice to that. I try to express gratitude for them. So I hope that's noticed. But further, I like to keep it interesting as well. So if there's something that excites me, I want to let that excitement carry over in the class. I think that's appreciated. I hope it is. Because it can come across corny or cheesy. It really could with only a little effort. I hope my sincere interest in this stuff and my excitement by what you can do for people. I hope that's part of what comes over. If someone is having struggles with grades or difficulties in class, trying to keep these folks interested in coming back was trying to find a way to speak about, you know what, looking at your grades, it looks like we're having trouble right now. It's a difficult time for you, I understand. I think we can agree that it's probably not going to happen for you right now, but then trying to find a way to sort of help deliver difficult news or difficult times, but do it in such a way that you don't dishearten someone or convince them to leave or talk them out of trying again, and having to learn how to translate that sort of earnest desire I have that I want them to do well into difficult moments of conversation. Like, and having to learn how to deliver that in an effective manner that helps them and doesn't just shut a door on them. Everyone gets a physical exam. Everyone, you have to put your hands on the actual patient. This is big. Like, when you're learning it in a didactic environment. You're studying, you're reading a book. You're not necessarily thinking of using your hands. When you get out there, you have to actually touch the person. You have to put your hands on the body part that is negatively affected. You have to examine them physically. The new students, when they roll out, they're very good at it. They do a physical exam on everyone, but if they've been on the road long enough and they learn more and they get very good at assessing and they start to pick up on cues and clues and they pick up things very well and accurately, to the point where they begin to disregard that fundamental basic element of the call. You have to physically examine the patient. So even if it's a medical, even if it's a Bravo Sigma medical, BS, if it's hogwash, it doesn't matter, man. You have to do the whole job. Every patient, every time, because one day you're going to have a patient that you didn't think had anything, that you didn't think was real. And once you lay your hands on that evidence that you were wrong and this is legit, that's when you're going to never forget to do a physical ever again. So cut to the chase. Everyone gets a full and complete assessment every time. there is an unfortunate element of public service that many members of many different divisions within public service, not just EMS, but fire, PD, any sort of public service facing entity, where we become the bitterness takes hold. You've been doing too long and you've been handed too many plates of nonsense by people. And so you stop sort of regarding them well. And the bitterness wins and you become contemptuous of your patients. There's a real risk that your empathy turns off. I can't advocate as hard as possible to go in the other direction. Like there's too many people that are willing to disregard or brush away patient complaints. You can't become contemptuous of the population you serve, or you will not do them any positive service. Like if you're at the point of having nothing good to say about any patient that ever comes on your bus, it's time to go on vacation. It's time to get away and think about what you're doing with yourself and how you're treating the people around you. Like gap, the empathy gap between some people and their patients is appalling, and I don't get it. I don't know how you can't feel for some folks. Even if they're spinning you a yarn, even if they're selling you another line, even if it's the same person in front of the same liquor store every day of week, and you know exactly when they're going to call, and you know their info so much that even without violating HIPAA, you can type in their demographics. And I get it, man. It's hard. It's hard to go to that person every day, have them look you in the eye, sell you some nonsense, and then still try to treat them adequately and well and with a smile. I get it, but the empathy gap is just unacceptable. Like, because it degrades the service you deliver overall so much so fast that it doesn't matter how good a provider you are at the best of your days. You could have the best story in the world, but if every other patient you treat that poorly, you treat with disgust or with loathing or with contempt, like if you're unempathetic to other people's pains and sufferings and what they go through, because some people spun you a yarn over here, you treat these people over here worse, unacceptable behavior. Unacceptable. You have to stay empathetic. You have to keep trying to think about other people. And it feels weird to say that in a public service job, right? It feels like this, if you signed up to be the person that is summoned when you call 911 on your worst possible day ever, how could you be mad about serving people under the circumstances? But I get it. Like, you're on the road, you get handed a lot of nonsense. It's hard, but that's the challenge. But unfortunately, I'm terribly interesting, so we just don't have the time. I don't think I hide it terribly at all. I am a bit of a Star Trek fan. I may or may not have met Bill Shatner. I may have photographic proof that I have touched William Shatner in my life. I'm just saying, there's possibilities. There's a couple of things I'm noticing that BMCC especially already does that we are big advocates for here as well, like as part of my job over here. And it's seeing more and more advanced treatments come into pre-hospital care. For the BLS side of things, especially, like we're running our BLS iGel program over here. We were the first in the city to do that. And seeing BMCC sort of take up, like putting more and more advanced techniques and more advanced trainings out at lower and lower levels of EMS down to the BLS level, like where EMT students are coming out of BMCC with more preparation, more training, more learning, more experiences than a lot of other schools are doing. That's making for better providers, it's making for better caregivers, and it's absolutely what I'm excited to see. So seeing more advanced medical techniques, more advanced healthcare get into the hands of more and more providers is absolutely something I'm very excited to have happen in EMS. I'm very excited to see it coming out of BMCC. If you want to get on the line and stay on the line for the next 25 years until you retire, then Many blessings upon you, my friend. Go far, do well. I'm here for you. We're applauding you the whole way. But if you think one day you may need to parlay this into an advancement, either further up within the ranks, into education, into the hospital proper, into other healthcare settings, the beginnings of that are college level degrees. And so there's no doubt in my mind that paramedicine should be its own 4-year degree. It should have a 4-year degree equivalency. It should require extensive training. It should require extensive ride-alongs and patient encounter avenues. It should be as celebrated a degree as nurses are, if not more so. We spend a lot of time with patients individually. We spend a lot of time in very dire circumstances. Paramedics at their best level are essentially doing the work of a resus room full of a dozen doctors and nurses, but they're doing it in the form of two persons in someone's bathroom on the tile floor with canvas bags. There's a tremendous benefit to having your life-saving care providers be better educated and better capable and more able to provide more robust care, not just for themselves, but for the world around them. So having a medic not just come out of school with a certificate, but with the beginnings of advanced education in the form of at least a 2-year degree, if not one day a 4-year degree, fingers crossed, looking ahead, the world really does open up. It really does. Like so many opportunities start to open up. I have an unfortunate opposite side of the coin that I can speak to because some of the most capable paramedics in my life who taught me can't go in hospital with it because they never had a 4-year degree. EMS wasn't considered even a potential for a 2-year degree for years and years and years. And so you have these great, long gray bearded men with very capable repertoires, with some of the most capable care providers in the city, whose careers are essentially capped in what they can do and what they can reach because just a 2-year or a 4-year degree was never part of the offering when they first became certified. So I think if you're going to be a medic and you're going to get signed off, if you're planning to do this, yeah, get the degree, because at the very least, even then, you can parlay that into another 2 years of college work, maybe get a pre-med bio, you can move up and do a 4-year RN, come out of that. But just you have to have some of that advanced training. And the higher level positions, the further you want to go in either education or a hospital, you have to have some sort of advanced degree. And you probably have to have some sort of postgraduate work as well. And none of that's going to happen unless you start getting certified, and then getting educated, and then getting your degrees. And so being able to do a couple of those at the same time, it just makes sense to do so. Anyone can memorize stuff. Anyone can remember how to do a procedure. I can teach most anyone to learn how to do good CPR. But to actively care enough about what you do for people every day, that internal motivator of wanting to do better for these people who are hurt, who are suffering, who need you, that empathetic drive, that altruistic drive doesn't just happen. You have to foster it. You have to cultivate it. You have to actually want it. You have to care. If that's something I could get other people to foster in themselves, man, I'd be at the front of the line. I'd be making everyone do that one. Like, because empathy is practiced. We know this. We can show you. Empathy can be learned. It can be practiced. It can be made better. You have to care. You can't just get through the day trying to not make paperwork mistakes or CYA, like if your primary motivator when you do work every day is to not get in trouble, I don't know if this is the job for you, man. I don't know. Like maybe there's some more low stakes, something you should be pursuing instead. But like we play with live ammo in this game. So we need you to care about the people you're treating. If I could foster anything in anyone in EMS, greater empathy. Verbal communication skills. Yeah, complex communication skills, like being able to problem solve, critical listening, critical thinking skills. We sort of allude to them and we begin the process of teaching elements of them, but like actively pursuing critical thinking, critical listening skills and being able to communicate effectively with the public, with your partners, with the docs and nurses, to sort of disengage the emotional elements of your linguistic responses and re-engage an objective or more academic interrogatory methodology in your interview. Learning how to ask good questions, learning when and how to ask questions that solicit responses. These are skills that you can actively work at, but it's not given as much time in classes. Like, we're sort of taught how to ask questions, OPQRSTI, DCAT, BTLS. You're taught how to examine for and learn these things and what questions to ask in what order, but learning how to critically listen to the responses and then infer, extrapolate, and think ahead to the next step. That's harder to teach, but practice will deliver that lesson. You need to pick up on clues. You need to pick up on what someone's saying. You need to learn to ask follow-up questions. You need to not fall for logical fallacies in your thinking. You need good clinical affect. Like, your behavior, how you ask questions, how you follow up, how you interview are all part of the job. It gave me a way to give back in a positive manner that benefited my family, that benefited me, that became a part of the person I wanted to be. Controversial hot take: you don't wake up and realize the person you are. It's like you literally sculpt who you want to be out of your choices, out of your actions. And so if the decision was, what do you want to do with the short amount of time you have? And your answer is help people. That helped me realize that there were ways to do that. And EMS, it was an easy yes at that point. Probably one of the better saves I got was an otherwise unremarkable call, cardiac arrest, full workup, intubation, IV, electrical interventions, the whole 9 yards. There's this middle-aged woman. We were running the whole show on her, and sure enough, pulses pop up and CO2 comes up. And as we're pulling into the hospital, she starts blinking her eyes. She starts chewing on the tube. She starts trying to self-extubate. So we're like, oh, we got a sedator. We got a sedator. We got a winner. We got a live one. And the worst part about that sort of positive feeling is statistics are what they are. On average, a person who is arrested once is going to do it again, right? And they're going to do it within 24 to 72 hours. And so you can bring someone in and you may have gotten a save, you may not have gotten a save, you think you got a save, and sometimes you get to know, sometimes you get hit with the registry, sometimes the lieutenant feels good and puts your name in for a save and official commendation. But for me, it was coming back to the hospital, it was almost a month later or something like that. And I was dropping off a different patient. The nurse who knew me knew I had brought someone in, and she pulled me aside to say, hey, look over there at bed 10. Anyone familiar? I was like, it's EMS. I don't know. I see so many people a day. I was like, who is that? She's just like, that's the save you brought in a month ago. I was like, she's still here? No. She came back for a follow-up on a secondary thing, but there she is. Like, her family was with her. And I think that crystallized something. Like, hearing she got to see her daughter again because of what we did. I didn't need to eat lunch that day. That was great. That was good. I just fed off of that moment for many hours after that. If some small amount of people wind up taking care of a stranger better or well when they didn't have to, in a way that didn't benefit them, and it did nothing but just add positivity into some stranger's life. If people do that more in some way because of anything I did, that'll last me quite a while. That'll be much of what I need.